Market launch to first offer tends to be the period in which there's most variance in timescales. The negotiation period and the legal process tend to take around about the same amount of time regardless of the property. Just depends on how good your solicitor and your prospective buyer or tenant solicitor is. So what can we do to make sure that we minimise that gap between launching to the market and your first offer? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that we've priced it correctly. Now, pricing it correctly depends on what is currently happening in the market. What are other properties actually achieving, not asking? It doesn't matter what you paid for it. If you bought at the top of a boom and trying to sell at the bottom of a recession, there's going to be a difference there. It doesn't matter what you've spent on the property. If, while you've owned it, you've decided to fit very expensive flooring and gold taps and all sorts of weird and wonderful things that you love, that's great, but it doesn't actually affect the value of the property. The person coming in may be going to rip it all out anyway. So it doesn't matter what you've spent on the property. So always make sure that you look at realistic comparisons. What else has been on the market? How long has it been on the market? And what has it achieved? What they're asking doesn't really matter. Getting the price right is very important. On the whole, people, when they're searching online for properties, will be searching between this price and this price, which means that if your price is too high, you're falling outside of that band. But equally, if your price is too low, there's every possibility that buyers or sellers won't see it either. The next thing to think about is marketing that actually reaches the right sort of buyers. Now, you can put it on Rightmove and agents' websites and all sorts of other portals and so on, and that's great for finding people who are already looking. And yes, indeed, that is an important part of the strategy. But how are you going to reach the people who aren't currently looking on portals? Have you got a market strategy in place where somebody could drive past or walk past or just be browsing social media and stumble across it and think, oh, do you know what? That would be just perfect for me. You cannot rely just on the portals alone. Around half of the people that buy or rent properties weren't actually proactively looking for a property when they found the one that they ended up buying or renting out. When you fall outside of the pricing bands, that reduces the number of enquiries and it leads to the agent oftentimes picking up the phone to you and saying, just the market, enquiries are down, we're just not seeing the activity. However, maybe they would be seeing the activity if the price was in the right price band. Another top tip is to speak to your solicitor about getting a legal pack ready when you put the property on the market, so that by the time you do find a buyer or tenant, your solicitor is ready to immediately send the contract paperwork out as soon as you have accepted that offer. Otherwise, you can find that it can take an extra 6, 8, 10, sometimes even 12 weeks to get the legal paperwork ready, by which point you've lost that momentum of the excitement of a new sale or a new letting just getting underway. A well-run instruction looks like this. It is correctly priced, it is proactively marketed, it is reaching buyers and tenants in the places where they are, not where we think they should be. It is a legal pack that is ready to send as soon as the offer is accepted and the sale or letting is agreed. It is a competent solicitor making sure that all of the paperwork is done in a timely fashion, and then it goes through to complete and everybody is happy. So if your commercial property has been on the market for 3 months or more without a serious offer, that isn't normal. There is something that needs addressing. Now, book a strategy call with us and we can talk through what's going on with your property and see how we may be able to help or offer suggestions for how you can help with your current situation.